This just came out a day ago, and this is going to be a tidal wave. This is going to get worse and worse and worse, as I said. And the medical community, I work in mental health, and what we are going to have is an explosion. Maybe that's why they're creating these non-helpful freestanding psych hospitals, because they know that they're going to have an avalanche of people that are going to become suicidal. And these freestanding psych hospitals, that's not where they're going to get help. It's just another dead end. I work in one, and they need more staff, they need more therapy. I mean, but this should have never happened. So, and the mental health is going to go and look to their professional organizations, their peer reviewed, who told them this was okay. Yet I'm an associate degree nurse, okay? And I'm a damn good nurse. I could figure out you shouldn't do this on children. Why was it the most highest of educated didn't know? They knew. They were just willing to be corrupt. Otherwise, they really just... how anybody thought that you should do this on children is unbelievable to me. While England has just made the informed decision to stop the devastating practice of allowing children to take puberty blockers, radical gender ideology continues to spread like wildfire across the United States. Under the guise of compassion, some states have taken this practice to the next level. 1 year ago from Saturday, March 16th, New Mexico Governor Michelle Grisham signed one of the country's most extreme so-called gender-affirming care bills into law, the Reproductive and Gender-Affirming Health Care Act. The anniversary comes just days after leaked files from the World's Authority on Gender Medicine exposed a medical scandal that leaves me with permanent scars. The World Professional Association for Transgender Health create standards of care on gender medicine for the American Academy of Pediatrics, Endocrine Society, and more. Its guidance determines how countless doctors and clinicians treat their patients. Apparently, it's also a factory of corrupt, unregulated, and irreversible experiments on children. Written and video discussions reveal WPATH members admitting that children cannot provide informed consent. They confirm that children with developmental delays and mental illness are being fast-tracked into gender transitions, suffering permanent damage and sometimes death as a result. This is the same damn thing that went on during the Holocaust. The people they go after right away is always the developmentally delayed, the mental illness. And none of the professional organizations knew better. They're still pushing it. WPATH members have the audacity to openly admit that many families don't fully understand the effects of surgery, hormones, and puberty blockers when they agree to the transition, and that doctors don't bother to hit the brakes and educate them. I can confirm this. After all, I'm one of their victims. I was born a female and grew up in North Carolina. I discovered the transgender community online as a teenager and was persuaded to socially transition. I was only 17 when doctors started injecting me with testosterone. In retrospect, I was the perfect victim. Yep. I was young, impressionable, isolated, suffering from severe mental health issues, including anorexia, self-harm, and attempts to end my life. Doctors told me transitioning was the cure for my emotional pain. This is why people are predators, because they go after the most vulnerable. My parents were against it, but were pressured to transition their daughter, or else, quote, he would commit suicide. That's the ongoing theme that's told to parents too. They were emotionally manipulated and not educated on the health risks. Surgery was discussed at my first consultation. Surgery was discussed at her first. I got a letter of recommendation from a transgender specialist who told me I was a boy and changing my body would cure my mental woes. Both my breasts were removed the next year. Throughout every step of my treatment, I never stopped feeling suicidal. I didn't need a double mastectomy and testosterone shots. I needed therapy. None of my suicidal tendencies went away until I addressed the real sources of my suffering. It's never going to cure anything to change the outside. I had been diagnosed with anorexia, borderline personality disorder, and had survived a sexual assault. Having found help and matured into adulthood, I identify as a woman, but the damage is done. Testosterone has left my back, neck, and shoulders on fire most days. My joints ache. My genitals are atrophied and painful. I will live a whole life never knowing how it feels to breastfeed a child. My liver is enlarged. It's likely that I'm at increased risk for heart attack and stroke. My voice is permanently changed. WPATH created a medical culture that tries to convince the most vulnerable among us that mutilation can be health care, and I fell for it. I feel like I killed a child, and it was me. This can happen to your children too. Doctors working in New Mexico can be fined thousands of dollars for standing in the way of so-called gender-affirming care, even if it contradicts their professional opinions. New Mexico is has one of the most radical bills of its nature in the country, but it's far from the only one. After the WPATH scandal, no state can claim in good conscience that pediatric gender transitions are settled science. I know from personal experience that a lot can change in a year. Thanks to a whistleblower at WPATH, the myth of gender medicine is busted. We can finally see the lack of science behind gender ideology. These files prove the medical community got it very wrong. I share my story because families need to understand what New Mexico's Reproductive and Gender Affirming Healthcare Act really means. It's not a law to protect children. It's permission to experiment on them. Maybe Governor Grisham didn't know a year ago, but she knows now. No, I think many of these people, that you just needed to have a moral compass to know this. And as far as I'm concerned, the people at the professional level, the associations level that continue still to push this, should not just be able to say, oh, sorry, we got it wrong, we didn't know, we were following that. No, because enough of us out here, like me who's a nurse, knew you shouldn't do this. So how is it I should know? Obviously you shouldn't be higher educated then. But no, there needs to be more accountability than, hey, we're sorry, we're American Nurses Association, we're sorry. We're sorry we put up videos saying that we need to do this, we need to push gender affirming care. These people need to go to jail because this will be an explosion. I've said this is what's going to happen. This is just the tip of the iceberg of what's going to happen, because when you take children, once they realize that and maybe obviously she could, even with the atrophied genitals, obviously, she didn't say she can't have children. However, that's what can happen. So it not to mention everything else they've done to them. She's at higher risk, lower to probably die at a younger age. Not live a full life. Their whole lives ruined. So the mental health community needs to get away from all of the associations of medicine, nursing, psychology, psychiatry, because they all promoted this and they should have known better. And those people, some of them, they need to be investigated and they need to go to jail, because there's no way they didn't, how they pushed this so much and still are, even after these files come out, even after the UK has put a halt to it on children. And for all of you people wanting to push it on children, this is why I call you predators. American Nurses Association, you hospital associations doing this to you. This is the same stuff they did during the Holocaust. You always go after the weak. That's what this looks like, and people need to go to jail for it.